Hi there, and welcome to the Butler Collegian newscast. I'm Nicki Clark.
And I'm Catalina Gallegos, filling in for Kristen Camilleri.
Butler Ballet's annual Midwinter Dance Festival will be held February 13th through 17th. Midwinter is an opportunity for Butler Ballet dancers to showcase the diversity of their talent as well as the diversity of dance. The festival focuses on contemporary and modern styles of dance, including Gerald Arpino's piece, Light Rain, the signature ballet of the Joffrey Ballet Company throughout the 80s and 90s. All performances will take place in the Schrott Center for the Arts.
Extreme weather in the Indianapolis area has caused maintenance issues around campus. The most damaging issue was a flood in the basement of Jordan Hall last week. The rooms in the basement that contained the Communications, Sciences, and Disorders Clinic suffered greatly from the damage. Project manager and maintenance system coordinator Donald Borden confirmed in an email that the CSD common area and the classrooms 76 and 83 reopened to students on Monday. Other offices expected to reopen next Monday.
BUPD is continuing to grow as they welcome many new officers to their force. The new officers include military veterans, former K-9 officers, and former IMPD officers. It is BUPD's goal to get their officers as engaged as possible as quickly as possible. They hope to ensure a safe and positive campus environment for students and faculty.
Following the December departure of Director Valerie Davidson, the Enforcement Diversity Center has named a new interim director. Gina Forrest will assume the director role until a permanent manager is named. In the meantime, Forrest is encouraging the students to visit the Diversity Center and talk about changes they do or do not want to see. Forrest said, quote, "We want to hear from the students. This is their center," end quote.
Jake Bedell is here with an update on what is going on with Butler Sports this week. Jake?
Thanks, Nikki. Well, it was an impressive weekend for the Dogs. They had victories in multiple sports. In basketball, the teams had about a week off, which was a much-needed break in order to make those adjustments. And whatever was done over that span worked for both teams. The men's and women's teams posted victories this past weekend. So we're going to start with the ladies, and on Friday matchup against Xavier, the Dogs had a 34-19 lead going into the half, and they'd stretched that lead even further. Fantastic defense is what forced Xavier to shoot only 28%, which allowed the offense to set up better plays and scoring opportunities when they had the ball. The Dogs were led by guard Kristen Spoiler, while they finished with 18 points in that matchup and helped Butler secure a 63-38 victory over the Musketeers. They play Creighton this coming Friday. The men look to get revenge against Georgetown and D.C. this past weekend after losing to them at home earlier in the season. Butler led at halftime 41-35 thanks to some impressive shooting in that first half, shooting about 48%, which was really good for them to get the ball moving. But the game was never necessarily far out of reach for either team. The largest lead was held by Butler with only 11 points midway through the second half. Now, that lead may seem like it was a large amount, but the game was going back and forth throughout the course of the game, which allowed the game to be very entertaining throughout. I thoroughly enjoyed it, at least. The defense did play really well beyond the arc, which prevented Georgetown from getting good three-point opportunities, and they only shot 27% from three-point range. Continue that with the Baldwin-Tucker duo for 33 points, and the Bulldogs leave the Capitol with a 73-69 victory. A busy weekend for the tennis programs ends with some happy coaches and the players. Both the men and the women's teams finished 2-1 this weekend. They played schools such as Denison, Washington University, and Dayton. Softball kicked off their season in Rosemont, Illinois. Yes, they were indoors. They defeated IUPUI by the score of 8-0. They followed up with a win over Evansville, 9-4. But the streak wouldn't last, as the Dogs would later fall to Loyola, 5-4, and Detroit Mercy, 5-2. They will look to head towards warmer climate in Clearwater, Florida, this upcoming weekend. And next week will be a busy week for athletics with 9 teams seeing action. So it'll be an interesting week for Butler programs throughout the course of the next week or so.
I think this is a pretty interesting week with Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
You
gonna buy me chocolates?
I'll buy Nikki some chocolates.
I don't have any money.
Yeah, I'm broke too. I mean, college debt is
Okay.
kind of bad.
Well,
That's all for this week's Butler Collegian newscast. To stay up to date with all things on Butler's campus, visit us at thebutlercollegian.com or on Twitter at Butler Collegian. I'm Nicki Clark.
I'm Jake Bedell.
And I'm Catalina Gallegos. Have a great week, dogs.